Good morning and a very warm welcome from all of us here at Understanding Recruitment. My name is Leo. I'm one of the team leads, and we'll be talking to you today about all things Golang. We've got quite a packed schedule in store. So we'll be looking, finding out a bit more about understanding recruitment and how we work and what we do, as well as covering various different things such as the work we're doing in the Golang space, where all our information has come from, a little bit of an overview of the market sort of to date and some of the trends and patterns that we're seeing. Looking at the top locations for Golang developers, the top employers, delving into the benefits that people are receiving and interested in receiving, and also looking more uh, into things in and around salary, compensation, and expectations on that. There will be an opportunity for you to ask any questions that you've got within the comments section. So please do leave all your sort of questions, and I'll go back to those as soon as possible, and hopefully at some point today. In terms of a little bit of background to understanding recruitment, so we are a software engineering recruitment uh, consultancy. We have been operating in the space since 2007, and we cover a range of different engineering disciplines. So we have specialist teams covering things including Java, JavaScript, Golang, Rust, DevOps, .NET, even a product team, and that falls under the understanding recruitment um, group. We also have an office in Boston, which focus more on the AI, machine learning, and hardware engineering space, as well as a more consultancy focused arm known as Understanding Solutions, who provides sort of statement of work and contract pieces. We are also moving more into the renewable space with our spin-off called Futera Talent, and also looking more into life sciences as well. So that's everything we're doing. In terms of the work we've done in Golang specifically, this is something that we've been covering for a number of years due to increased client demand. So what we decided to do is at the start of last year introduce a Golang specialist team, which works very closely in sync with the Rust engineers, with the Rust engineers and the Rust team. Sorry. So yeah, we will crack on and have a little look at some of the trends we've seen in the market. To begin with, I think for all those involved, 2023 certainly presented its challenges. So some of the trends that we started to see was the year was mostly sort of overshadowed by a large number of layoffs. Basically, so a lot of the big tech companies made a large number of their software engineers redundant. We saw a decrease in the funding available for startups as well, which led to the market being very much sort of candidate heavy. So we saw lots of very good and very talented engineers on the market for prolonged periods of time, and in some cases struggling to find employment. What we have started to see, particularly in the last sort of 3 months of 2023, we've seen a bit of a positive shift and an uplift. So more and more companies are now beginning to hire. Um, More people are landing sort of new jobs, coming away with multiple offers, and generally feeling more positive about the market and its conditions. We do also expect that with the start of the new financial year, come April, that we should start to see more of a return to the general sort of business levels of 2021, 2022. So everyone largely is feeling very positive. So that's sort of everything that will be covered here. The data which we'll be presenting to you has come through surveys which we've rolled out through our internal database. We've also got access to LinkedIn Insights, as well as talking with clients whom we've supported who all hire Golang engineers. So that is all of the stuff and a bit of context about the information and where we will be going. Um, Moving on, wanted to really have a bit more of a look at some of the sort of locations where people are hiring this Golang talent. So we have access to the UK, Europe, and the US. So in the United Kingdom, we actually saw a bit of a decrease compared to last year in terms of the people who are showing actually having Golang on their LinkedIn profile. Not sure, whether that's the case. There has been a bit of a shift in LinkedIn in terms of we're seeing lots of sort of fake profiles in some instances, and it has become a little bit saturated on LinkedIn. The gender split has remained pretty similar, so still very much male dominated, and the median tenure uh, remains pretty similar. So on average, software engineers across any discipline are moving every 18 months to 2 years. Anyway, Europe, we saw a bit of an increase in the amount of Golang talent, which is unsurprising. It's very popular, particularly in sort of Germany, Estonia as well. But more and more companies are moving away from the likes of sort of .NET, PHP, and Java, and starting to engage more in the Rust and Golang space, certainly for back-end technologies. Across the US, we're starting to see again a bit more of a significant decrease, but a bit of a better gender split with a similar tenure over there. So that's everything sort of from that front, and a bit of a general kind of overview. Um, Moving on, so in terms of where Golang talent is located, unsurprisingly within the UK, London is probably our biggest tech hub, the capital city, closely followed by the likes of sort of, well, not closely followed by kind of Cambridge, Bristol. There's a good tech hub, as well as the north of the country, looking at Edinburgh, and Manchester certainly has a lot of good and reputable companies, such as your sort of Bet365s, who all encompass Golang within their technology stack. And again, please remember, any questions, just drop me um, a comment as well. So across Europe, um, we're seeing lots of gophers in Ukraine, in Berlin, in the Netherlands, and in Paris. So particularly noticed last year, a lot of French companies really starting to see some good traction, and having some excellent momentum on that front. Again, sort of Berlin and Germany doing very well to have some really strong startups and an excellent caliber of engineers. In the US, we're seeing quite a split as well, sort of across the states. So some very big players over in San Francisco, of course, New York. Uh, we have our own entity in New York. Austin, in particularly, and sort of Texas is doing very well and is becoming more of a tech hub over in the United States. Are seeing a lot of investment into those areas, and dare say that we will continue to do so over the coming years. In terms of who we're seeing as some of our top employers, so I touched on Bet365 earlier in the UK, so they are HQ'd in the north of the country. Deliveroo are a huge Golang employer, have an excellent bar and caliber. Thought Machine, Sky Utility Warehouse, also the likes of Monzo, Challenger Bank, um, do very well with kind of engaging Golang talent, and a large part of their tech stack is Golang. In terms of the companies across Europe, so again, there will be some crossover with the UK. So different countries, including um, different companies in Europe, sort of including various other bits such as Google, so of course Creator Golang, Delivery Hero, Amazon, Booking.com as well. Across the US, we're seeing again Microsoft, Capital One, Apple, so a lot of the big names and players, but this unfortunately doesn't cover the huge rise in startups, which are also adopting Golang. So moving, in terms of our surveys, so Golang is and remains very popular. So lots of the engineers that we work with, that we speak with daily, very passionate about Golang, and everyone that we surveyed does want to continue using it moving forward. It's synonymous, I think, with sort of the Rust language, as many people are choosing either Golang or Rust as something that they want to take moving forward in the world of backend. So universities, again, this plays quite an important factor, more so in the software engineering industry than most others. So we still see a bit of that kind of old school mentality, often having a computer science degree from a well-known, well-respected university will help software engineers advance their careers. It also importantly opens the doors to lots of opportunities when people are first starting out. So the likes of Manchester, Imperial College, UCL, Bristol, all very popular. In the UK, we've also got the likes of Essex University. You have a brilliant computer science course across Europe. So the Ukrainian University, the European Institute of Technology, AGH over in Poland as well. Eastern Europe in particular has some absolutely fantastic and very talented developers. Across the US, the likes of Georgia, California, San Jose, Carnegie Mellon, and Southern California are the top producers of software engineers listed with Golang. Of course, on the actual degree and topic front, unsurprisingly, computer science will, and I dare say, will always lead the way across the world in terms of people that are then moving into coding and using the likes of Golang. So, computer science is up there, along with computational science, software engineering, IT. So, everything in and around that. Most engineers will go for a bachelor's, and it's quite common in the engineering space to also go for a master's. Some do go for PhD or Doctor of Philosophy. Again, that's a lot of extra time, effort, and of course money. So it's more common that people hold either a bachelor's or a bachelor and a master's degree as well. So moving on, in terms of a bit more about what we sort of expect to see. Benefits is very important, certainly in hiring and attracting the best talent. So um, I think, and unsurprisingly, what do people actually want is very much remote and flexible working. We saw in the backdrop of COVID and with everyone being told to work from home, many companies saw a shift to either fully remote working or indeed hybrid working. We are seeing, particularly in the UK, now a bit more of a move towards increased office presence. So typically, companies are now asking gophers to come in 2 or 3 days a week. Few are 5 days, but that is now not unheard of once again. So most important to people in terms of their benefits is remote and flexible working. Fully remote opportunities are hugely popular across any engineering discipline. The other thing to look at is equipment. When you're sat coding day in, day out, you want access to the very best equipment. Healthcare, hugely prevalent, particularly with opportunities in the US with slightly different healthcare setups than most of the UK and Europe. Training and staying sort of on top of everything is really important as well. With the rise in startups and smaller companies, shares and equity is also a good way to attract some of the top Golang talent. Um, in terms of what people are kind of receiving and touching more on that equity front, most do not receive it. Some do, but people are keen and do want to see a bit more on that front. So again, that's a stat that will slightly update. Um, in terms of, I think the other things that are really important to people is going to be kind of having a look at some other things that people really want. So people that we've surveyed tend to have, very few people have sort of over 10 years experience with Golang because it is, of course, a new and emerging tech, but we are now starting to see an increase in 10 years of people who've now been using it for multiple years, have gone from various job to jobs, all encompassing using the Golang language. So a huge increase in the blockchain and Web3 space. Lots of the new crypto and Web3 startups are using this Golang as a tool. There's also some sort of embedded devices, gaming, networking as well. So people would, love to still see it being used in the future. So I don't think that we'll see any sort of decrease in its use whatsoever. So in terms of the salary guide, and this is particularly important for those job hunting, those wanting to stay in the know, and also for people looking to hire and attract engineers. So in the UK, you're looking at about 100k plus for a lead or engineering manager. Seniors going anywhere from 80 to 130k. Mid-levels sitting in that 60 to 90k bracket, and entry-level roles usually starting around the sort of 40,000 plus mark. Kind of similar to European salary expectations, although in euros ever so slightly lower, as the cost of living in Europe is typically more affordable than sort of London and the UK, although not always the case. Salaries in the US are known for paying very well. So juniors starting more at the 60k mark, with engineering managers and leads going anywhere up to about the 180,000 mark. So hopefully that provides some really sort of useful insights for everyone. In terms of everything, that is what we were looking at today. I think the key point to stress is that we are here to basically provide any sort of support, answer any questions you've got. We're happy to share a full PDF copy of the talent and salary guide for everyone to look at. So do please reach out and let us know if there's anything that you would like. So that's going to be everything covered from myself today. Any questions or anything else, please drop a comment, and look forward to seeing you on the next LinkedIn Live. Thank you for tuning in, and see you soon.